You're listening to The Marne Report.
Well, hey, Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield. This is Molly with your latest edition of the Marne Report Podcast. I have a special edition for you guys today. I have my super great friends from the Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield Fire Department here, some fire inspectors, to talk to us about Halloween safety. Thank you guys so much for being on the show with me today. Hey, so I've got three of you here with me. How about we just go do a round robin? Tell me who you guys are. Just give me a little background about yourselves and your positions.
Okay, well, I'm Inspector Steele. I'm new to inspections. I'm glad to be part of this team, And I guess the only thing to say right now is that my favorite Halloween costume was anything I could paint myself.
What?
Yes.
Ultimate Warrior?
Yes. So I could be like Hulk one year, or I could be any Power Ranger. I was kicked out of school one time for it.
That's actually okay. I like this.
Were they fire retardant paints, face paints?
Well,
I hope so.
I just painted everything.
Yep.
And I went to school. Think about it.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Learning is tough when you're green.
Yeah, well, it wasn't the green one.
Okay. So, you're new to fire inspections. How long have you been on the team?
What, since February?
Wow.
So
brand new. We're glad to have you.
Well, thank you.
All right. How about you, Trey?
I'm Trey Sanders. I'm an inspector, of course. I have been an inspector since maybe about February. We started early in November, but took a while for them to get me in a position. So I was doing firefighting and inspecting until about February when Tim got started. So we got started about the same time. Literally, my favorite Halloween costume was the Hulk, but it was too expensive. So I just get the mask and I have to walk around with regular clothes.
You just should have painted yourself.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
The mask and regular clothes.
I mean, the Hulk incognito.
Yeah, it was a kid because I was a kid, so I put my hood on.
And only the mask.
Only the mask. I had regular clothes, regular street clothes with the mask.
Well, I think that's okay because I feel like that's what my kid is doing for Halloween this year. So it was timeless.
Which
Trey.
is what?
It's like this weird LED mask that you can make any mask out of.
Yeah.
Well, and also like he has to wear a mask because he's getting older, but like still wants candy, but doesn't want to be judged.
Yeah, it's harder when you get bigger too. So.
Yeah. All right, and then following up, last but not least.
My name is Inspector Bradshaw Matthew. My favorite Halloween costume. Well, truly, I started, I think maybe when I was 4 or 5. I was, my parents made me a robot out of boxes, spray painted them silver, which I'm pretty sure is not safe these days.
No.
I think I had like a little antenna, like a clothes hanger antenna. As a robot.
Yeah.
I'm a robot. But
So the alien.
I can't say that was my favorite one.
But
it was the first one I remember.
Unique. Unique enough to remember.
Yeah, my mom was right into the arts. So
That's the brighter side of poverty right there.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Grab a microwave, the higher side of poverty right there.
grab a microwave box, grab a moving box, and we'll put it on top of each other.
I don't think there's anything wrong
Spray
with
paint
that.
it.
Okay, so wait. I'm going to tell you guys about my favorite Halloween costume, but first I want you to tell me how long you've been.
I've been a fire inspector for roughly 5 years now, Molly. Working on post.
Old dog.
Oh,
man of the bunch.
yes. At 25, I think I'm doing okay.
Right?
Oh, whatever helps you sleep at night. Okay, so before we get started, my favorite... let me say this. At my school, we used to have Halloween costume contests. And I always really wanted to win, so I would try to come up with really unique costumes. One year, I went as a basket of dirty laundry. Like, I wore a laundry basket and had, like... But guess what? I didn't win. The next year, I was like, I'm going to go as a whole entire haunted house. So I took a refrigerator box, right? And my parents helped me, like, fashion the roof. And I drew all over it with, like, spider webs. I thought it was a shoo-in to win.
When they opened up the window of the Halloween house, was your face like there?
No, I was like in the.
Like an advent
I was just like, my face was just there.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. No, I didn't win. It was the girl that wore the like red sweatsuit and the construction paper on her head with Crayola scribbled down the front like a crayon. She won.
Oh.
The next year, I was like, I'm really going to win this time. I won as a box of popcorn. I even had real popcorn on the top.
Oh, wow.
I lost again.
Who won?
The crayon girl, again, like the crayon girl swept it 3 years in a row. So I'm
Rich
just saying,
parents.
yeah, I mean,
This says a lot about
Okay.
your competitive nature. Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that you still remember the costume that one. Did you go back and actually make the crayon the next year?
No, I gave up. I was like, you know what, clearly this girl's going to win every time. But I still had some of the coolest costumes every Halloween. So, you know, I mean,
What was the best one then?
I think the haunted house.
Okay.
I mean, you could have made that box into a box of Crayolas.
Oh, I should have. I should have, right? Oh, man.
I'd have killed it.
Which,
God, if I could just go back in time.
yeah.
You could still try it today.
I
But-
should. Maybe that's what I'll be
I
this year.
encourage you.
That's what I'll be this year.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Then, on these Halloween costumes that you made,
Yeah.
were any of them drooping or sagging or could get caught up somewhere?
Yes. As a matter of fact, they were not very safe now that I think about it.
Well,
Boxes were flammable. It's a tag, you know.
yeah. Did you know that decorations are the first thing to ignite roughly 800 reported home fires every year, Molly?
Oh.
I'm not saying more or less the NFPA is talking about house decorations,
Yeah.
but also decorations that are hanging off of you as a haunted house, maybe. I don't know.
Did you have a chimney on your house, in your costume?
I did.
Ooh.
I don't. Well, maybe. Me.
Fire hazard.
There was a whole fireplace in my haunted house.
Where was the food?
I don't know that the flue was open. Whoops. But okay, seriously though, like let's talk about some of these Halloween safety tips because I mean, you're correct, right? Tell me about what some of those things are though.
Specifically, well, I know a good one that just comes to mind and not off this paper in front of me is to make sure children stay away from open flames. You know, we have some jack-o'-lanterns out there that people actually put, you know,
Old school.
Yeah, old school, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for realistic, you know,
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, tell them to stay away from any open flames.
It's
you know?
it's tradition based, right?
Mm-hmm.
To put the candle in
Sure.
there, and it's kind of tough to get away from that. But there are,
Flameless candles,
Yeah, those
glow sticks.
glow
sticks, good one.
right? Little flashlights,
Yep. Yeah.
whatever works. You know, depending on this is getting to the weeds a little bit, but how long the pumpkin's been sitting out there, you got to make sure that the area is kind of clear around it.
Sure.
You don't want, if you are going flameless or whatever, with, you know, be aware of putting an extension cord through there, maybe heating up the pumpkin over time or whatever could cause a fire. I don't know. Just throwing that out
Also,
there.
another good one is not putting them in front of exits. You know,
Yeah, good one.
Oh, like right by your front door where most
Yes.
people put them.
Yeah.
hazards. And, yeah.
So where do you suggest that people put them? Because I mean, my whole life I've always put my pumpkin by the front door.
You're right.
Same here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an excellent point. Like, it does become a tripping hazard if someone is trying to exit the house
Or
in
has a
hurry.
really difficult box of a whole entire haunted house costume on and can't see.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
yep.
Knock it
very true.
over, knock it into leaves or whatever. I would suggest these days, at least, maybe at the end of your driveway, so the kids that are coming through know that your house is open for candy
Sure.
or whatever you decide to hand out.
That's a good idea.
And also, if you're going to have the old school jack-o'-lanterns, just like we have fire extinguishers in our kitchen, because we know open flames or potential for flames, how about having one close to the door, close to
Sure.
the front door? It's just easy access. They have maybe a 5-pound or just something that can help you mitigate that possible danger if someone walks up with an awkwardly big home of costume or a Crayola box. And, there's fire and kindling, things to catch fire easily. A fire extinguisher is helpful.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so tell me some more.
Providing children with flashlights, right? So it is getting darker.
Sure.
A little earlier at night, right? So around 7, sun starts going down. If you know your child's going to be out past that 7 p.m. time frame, provide them with the flashlight. Stay out of mischief, kids.
But also, we got to think about where we are. Technologically, we can find our kids with those cell phones wherever they are.
Sure.
So just awareness of the world changing. Children were getting snatched when I was a kid, but they still allowed us to go trick-or-treating in just little groups together.
Right.
But today it's a bit different,
Air tags.
Yeah. We can keep track of them, but the threat is still there. So not allowing your kids to go in places just with their friends unknowingly.
Sure.
Give them that basic talk that we got. Be aware of your surroundings, things like that. We can't lose that while we want them to have the joy of what we were able to experience. We still want them to be safe about it. And so escort them. That's something old school, but it still happens in certain areas. Like we have the trunk or treats to avoid children getting, being in places that they have to walk up to strangers' homes. So things like that are helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And just to kind of piggyback off of what you guys are saying. So this year, Stewart-Hunter's trick-or-treat times in the neighborhoods have changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we normally always follow the same hours that the community has for their trick-or-treat hours, which is typically 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Fort Stewart and Hunter will start 1 hour earlier at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So, it still goes all the way till 8, which means that you're still going to be walking around in the dark. However, it brings on a whole other level of safety, right? Because now what happens at 5 o'clock? Everybody's coming home from work, So just keep that in mind. Let's continue talking about safety. What else do you guys have?
Parties, maybe, treat it like an exit drill. If something happens, know how to get out of that house into a safe spot.
Sure.
And let your kids know that. I mean, adults are going to be having a good time with kids right there. Just them being ready if something happens. That'd be treat it like a home drill.
Yeah.
Sure. And then one last thing about the costumes and stuff. I know throwing something bright on to be identifiable while walking on the street, while it's getting dark, might throw off your costume a little bit. But it does help people like myself at 25 that can drive it. Yes, it's got bad night vision, right?
Yeah.
And I can see, just stay on the sidewalk, make sure you're wearing something a little more identifiable, especially if you're out there Halloween candying alone, right? So, trick-or-treating.
Halloween candying, that's what we'll call it from here on out. Well, right. I mean, Halloween is spooky. People like to wear the color black. Maybe not the smartest thing if you are out trick-or-treating in the streets. I always send my kids with glow sticks. I'm like, here, take this glow stick and hang it around your neck, and they feel like a dork. But I mean, at least it's like a bouncing glow stick down the street,
even
right?
If it's on the back of their costume, so it doesn't mess up the front.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate myself because these trunk or treats, making sure that, like I said, you have fire extinguishers, but also make sure your smoke alarms are working. If you're gonna, participate in having open flames and candles and all of these things, of course, don't put them in windows where you have curtains or blinds, of course. But like I said, the safety part is we all have children.
Sure.
And our mindset is safety in fire, but it's generally safety, because if anything happens and we got to look for somebody, everyone comes out.
Sure.
And then we start thinking about how we could have avoided this. So that's why I'm a big fan, like I said, back to those motor pools. Some units do it in the motor pool. They have the haunted houses and the things that are really organized and protected. So I love the fact that we're so proactive on holidays, on base for the children.
Sure.
Because they sacrifice for the parents as well.
Yeah.
So give them that space. It pains me sometimes when I see soldiers just don't participate, because it's like the alternative is to go out there where you have to deal with all the dangers that come with being out there. So safety for me is just take part in the things that we have available here.
Yeah.
And, you know, like this podcast, you know, people don't really get this education outside.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. And last thing, I've seen people dress up their cars like haunted houses,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, it's not really taking away from the fun. You know, it's keeping the kids safe within that area, like Inspector Sanders is saying.
Yeah. And also, I mean, so we know, I mean, trick-or-treating at people's houses, it's a tradition. There are still people that are going to do it. But the one thing that I've appreciated as a parent over the past few years that I've taken my kids trick-or-treating is the fact that when we were kids, we went straight up to the door, and it was like a whole process of knocking on the door and somebody coming to the door and handing you the candy. But that's not even the case anymore. People come out into their driveways, you know, which adds an extra layer of safety, I guess, both for that family and the kids that are trick-or-treating, right? Because everything that you're doing is right out there in the open. You don't have to go approach a stranger's house.
yeah.
You know, you don't have strangers coming up to your house. So, I mean, those of you who may still be in that traditional mindset of, you know, somebody's going to come and knock on that door. I love that. I love traditional things like that so much. And I don't want to take away from that, but maybe consider just stepping out into your driveway, you know.
So let me ask you something. Besides dialing 911, what was one of the first things that you ever learned when it comes to fire safety?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Perfect. Yeah. The reason why I bring that up is just because of the older school traditions of
Sure.
the candles and the jack-o'-lanterns and the sweeping ghost costumes
Which are a thing now.
Right.
Like the sheet ghost costumes, that's like all their age.
Right.
Really?
Yes.
So those things are probably made with the lowest level material, highly flammable, right?
Yeah.
So it is important to remember to stop, drop, and roll, or at least teach your kids at home. Or as a parent, if you want to practice in front of your kids,
Sure.
that would be cool. I know my son would think that would be cool if I showed him like 5 times out in the lawn.
Yeah.
First, rolled over a couple pine cones, I guess, or something. Cool.
Yep.
Molly is going to demonstrate right now.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
go.
you guys can't see it, but here we go.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Knock anything over?
Yeah.
I am
was a
so-
little, it was like a 7.2.
I mean, I think I'm pretty graceful.
That was
Just
nice.
saying.
That was good.
All right. I mean, I was in front of like the 3 judgiest professional
Yes.
fire people.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
always dropping.
Yeah, that's how I actually had to. That was like my final as a fire inspector. Like,
They're like, stop, drop, and roll.
yeah. that's
Now.
right. Yeah.
It's like, give me 20, but instead for you
I had
guys,
to teach a class on it.
stop. This has been so great, guys. Is there anything else that you want to add? Not just about Halloween safety, but just your program. I mean, anything at all. First of all, one thing that I do want to say, I want to give you guys a shout out because all of you just have a super successful fire prevention week. You all were out and about everywhere. I mean, on Fort Stewart and on Hunter Army Airfield, educating this community.
We did this all ourselves.
Yeah.
So no, we got some help from the PAO office here, but it is inspiring when the post starts coming together for a fire safety week like that. I know every year we kind of ask for more participation. We got a lot this year, especially showing up at the PX. Just coming out, getting pictures with Sparky.
Sure.
We loved coming by the CDCs, the elementary schools. If there's any programs out there that have an interest in getting involved for next year's Fire Prevention Week, go ahead and find us on Facebook or shoot us a message.
Also, we have our facility managers course, fire wardens course. We have every third Thursday of each month being taught now at Building 703 to USO. We used to do it at the fire station. Plus, a large part of Fire Prevention Week was people going to visit the fire station. So
Sure.
hats off to all the guys that supported us from Fort Stewart Fire Department. We appreciate you fellas.
Yeah.
We had some of the garrison commanders come out, show up at the PX. The people at the PX welcomed us. People at the library, they welcomed us.
Yeah.
And all the parents that brought their children out. We had a great turnout, like he said. So Yeah, and if you guys need your candy to be checked, we're at building 702. So any child who's not sure about their candy, bring those buckets.
Yeah, we also take donations, so it's a handful per check.
We work for Snickers.
Yes.
Oh, Snickers. I would work for Reese's peanut butter cups.
Those two.
Personally.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotta be cold though.
All right, guys. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, I would say that just about wraps this up.
All right, thanks for having us again, Molly.
Thanks for
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, seriously, it's always a pleasure. You guys are always welcome back. Anytime you like to share, the comings and goings of your super awesome program. And again, everybody, hey, take heed. Listen to these tips because these guys know what they're talking about. And that would be it for this week's edition of the Marne Report Podcast. I am here with Timothy, Trey, and Matt, and I am Molly, and we are signing off.
The Digital Garrison app is your one-stop source for all things Fort Stewart-Hunter Army Airfield. With the DG at your fingertips, you'll never miss out on upcoming events, installation updates, facility and gate information, weather, shopping, and so much more. Digital Garrison is free from your phone's app store. Download today.